On NBC, there is a horrible drama called New Amsterdam, apparently. I've never seen it. Designed for people who are emotionally defective.
Emotionally defective?
Here is a clip of how this show encapsulated the Supreme Court decision on Roe versus Wade. You're going to love this. Can you imagine? Imagine taking these people seriously. I want to meet the people that created something like that. I just want to pick their brains.
Kari Lake, she look good too. She's a very attractive. Nah, she look real good.
On Monday night on the program, we played a video from a campaign event earlier in the day for Kari Lake, the Republican candidate for governor in Arizona. Specifically, it was her response to a question about school security. During that response, she mentioned the attack on Nancy Pelosi's husband, Paul. I want to play that exact same piece of sound again.
It is not impossible to protect our kids at school. They act like it is. Nancy Pelosi, well, she's got protection when she's in D.C. Apparently her house doesn't have a lot of protection. But if our lawmakers have protection, if our lawmakers can have protection, if our politicians can have protection, if our athletes, then certainly the most important people in our lives, our children, should have protection.
Republicans have publicly condemned the violence, but some are actually making jokes about it.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Wolf. I mean, instead of this moment of unity, what we have seen is Republicans actually mocking Paul Pelosi and the attack. In fact, Donald Trump Jr. tweeted out some really crude memes making fun of Paul Pelosi.
Kari Lake is saying that what you just heard was the result of what she called, quote, creative editing. CNN's resident fact checker Daniel Dale joins us now. So what else is Kari Lake saying about her comments on Monday?
She is claiming to reporters now that she never made light of the attack on Mr. Pelosi, and that the idea that she did or that she said anything bad was solely the result of a despicable, deceptive editing hit job by what she calls the fake news media. Listen to her comments.
I never made light on the attack. I was talking about our children and why they don't have better security at school. And I said that our politicians have security and that our athletes have security, and we need to have security for our children. Go back and look at the tape and don't do any creative editing like the fake media tends to do, and you'll see what I was saying.
Wow, she's just flat out lying.
Security, and we need to have security for our children. Go back and look at the tape and don't do any creative editing like the fake media tends to do, and you'll see what I was saying.
It got a laugh from the audience. It got a laugh from the
audience.
audience.
I don't control people, buddy. I don't control people. I can be responsible for myself. I can't be responsible for others. Any other questions?
Wow, she's just flat out lying.
Yeah, Anderson, the truth, I went back and watched that full video she insists we watch. It changes absolutely nothing.
Go back and look at the tape and don't do any creative editing like the fake media tends to do.
That the idea that she did or that she said anything bad was solely the result of a despicable, deceptive editing hit job by what she calls the fake news media.
Don't do any creative editing like the fake media tends to do.
It was solely the result of a despicable, deceptive editing hit job.
Don't do any creative editing like the fake media tends to do.
It was solely the result of a despicable, deceptive editing hit job by what she calls the fake news media. She invokes the attack on Mr. Pelosi unprompted. Much of the audience laughs. The moderator chuckles so much that he's covering his face with his notes.
It got a laugh from the audience. It got a laugh from the audience.
I don't control people, buddy. I don't control people.
This is a playbook we've heard a lot in the last few years. You make a comment that might excite parts of the Republican base, and then when that comment gets you in trouble with some other people, you just claim you never did it at all.
I don't control people, buddy. I don't control people.
Now, I would say most Republicans have condemned the attack, but a lot of them have been reluctant to acknowledge that some of the GOP's own rhetoric or their efforts to demonize Nancy Pelosi or their party's embrace of fringe conspiracy theories have contributed to the dangerous, toxic political environment, or they have tried to blame both sides equally.
I get her doing this. I mean, this is her shtick. Who's the guy interviewing her who covers his face like this is actually something funny? I mean, when did human beings just become? When did we become like this? Who's guffawing in the audience as if it's actually funny? I mean, I don't understand. There's just nothing funny about anybody being hurt. There's just nothing funny about anybody being hurt. There's just nothing funny about anybody being hurt.
But we do think it's funny how y'all spinning things. Yeah, just like y'all spinning this story. When Kari Lake said that, she didn't laugh. She didn't smile or anything. Yeah. The artist thought it's funny because, again, you people are painting how y'all spin these stories just like you're doing right now. MSNBC said there was a Trump supporter who was there to bust her kneecaps, Nancy Pelosi's kneecaps, and assassinate her.
But according to our own Ben Collins, really over the last year or so, Chuck, this individual went to the alt-right, far-right type ideology that we've seen, talking QAnon, talking Pizzagate, and then just a lot of very anti-Semitic postings.
But nobody's fact-checking what you guys are saying. Yeah. Y'all saying he was a Trump supporter, right-wing extremist. Nobody's fact-checking y'all. But when we share speculation that there was both in their underwear, you're people on the right are getting fact-checked on Facebook. Yeah, I don't know how true that is. Yeah. Well, I saw some. They got fact-checked. Yeah, the fact-checkers are true. Yeah. They're getting fact-checked. But nobody's fact-checking them. When they say things that, this was a white extremist, right-wing extremist. Yeah, which is bullshit. There's no way in hell that dude's a right-wing extremist.
The woman running for governor in Arizona jokes about it. Now, why would any sensible person want to give power to somebody who thinks it's funny that a person gets assaulted in his own home?
Yes, we came, we saw, he died.
We do not know all the information.
No.
I mean, we obviously hope Paul Pelosi's okay. That's the bottom line of the whole thing. But doesn't add up. Something doesn't make sense.
It'll take a while to figure it out.
But then the doesn't add up very quickly became just completely disgusting responses to the attack on Paul Pelosi, some of which were retweeted by sitting United States Senator and podcaster Ted Cruz. Some were said out loud by Arizona's Republican gubernatorial nominee, Kari Lake, to get a big laugh on the campaign trail.
I don't control people, buddy. I don't control people.
And there's a reason that these guys are writing 100% negative stories on us, on me. 100%. I was shocked when I heard that. I read the story this week. Apparently some group studied all of the mainstream media, and they said, of course, the Democrats get treated like they're brilliant when they're not. And the Republicans get treated awfully, but that's not a surprise to us. 87% of Republican candidates are getting negative coverage by the fake news media. But there was something shocking in the story. They said there's one candidate out there who's getting 100% negative coverage by these guys. Guess who it was? Yours truly. The good news is we're not listening to them. We're not listening to them. We've pulled the curtain back. We see what they're about. Let me ask, and I want you to kind of look at the media when you answer this, when you answer this question. How many of you really don't care what the fake news media says? Give it some noise. You just don't care.